opted into that one. Blue has definitely been stronger, considerable for most teams with how many must bans there are on red side, but Suning maybe wanting to get some more counter picks coming out for their solo laners.
Looking to see if they can make something happen as we do move on to it, and you'd be actually interested to know that the red side in the LPL so far the split has a 54.5% win rate, so actually higher on the red side despite all these different power picks going over. As we look to see now
and
what
despite
EDG...
most teams picking blue.
Yeah, it's a very strange situation where I feel like it's that trade-off that we usually see now, where it's like, yes, you get the first pick that you want, but if you're smart on the red side, you can get 2 power picks off of that. You know, you could get a fantastic bot lane, you can get a mid-jungle duo that will work very, very strongly for you. There's a lot of different things that can come into your favor, as we see the Renekton, the Xin Zhao, the Camille, the Lee Sin, the Diana, and the Rumble all banned away. Now Edward Gaming gonna first pick the Akali, give that one over to Scout, or Flandre. Have seen it in Flandre's hands, both very, very powerful with that pick. And now what do Suning do to respond?
Just quick note on EDG with the Akali. Both times they picked it, it has been Flandre who has played it. 100% win rate, 10 KDA, absolutely insane on the pick so far. Flandre always known for his like AP champions back in the day. Suning going to respond with a Karma pick of their own. I actually think this is a lot more likely to go into the hands of Angel than it is On. On has been pretty much relegated onto like tanks and engaged champions. Does have one game of the Lulu because Suning have played the Lulu and Kog'Maw composition, but now with a lot of priority picks banned away, instead they just want to go for the Ezreal themselves.
Yep, they go for the Ezreal Karma in their first rotation. Of course, could see Angel on it. Most likely we'll see the Karma on the bot side just to get that priority. Personally, I would prefer to see Bin and Angel on things with a little bit more agency, a little bit more like playmaking. We talked about it just before coming into this setup or this matchup. Angel looks the best when he's able to be on playmakers that don't need others to facilitate him. He looks the best when he's able to create opportunities on his own, and then the team can follow up from that. So, see exactly where they want to go with this Karma very, very shortly in the bans, or the picks, I should say. But EDG picking up the Varus, they may just go for the reverse of the matchup and say, well, anything you can do, we can do better. And it looks like they're going for a very similar setup, as instead of the Leona, they go for the Nautilus.
And I'm surprised we're not picking up junglers already, right? Because we already have the Xin Zhao and Rumble taken off the board. We've mentioned how we haven't really seen Udyr on this patch at all. You already have an AP solo laner in the Akali, so things like the Diana, the Nidalee, you wouldn't expect those to come out. You can't flex the Lee Sin. Like, there's very limited champions left open that I feel like can fit into with EDG's draft that they'd want to go for. And overall, the lack of Nocturne priority in this series has been pretty surprising as well. When Suning can triple flex the pick, we've seen SOFM pick that one up in both solo laners. I'll be able to do that in the past. And EDG also, we know Flandre and JJ were both big on the champion in spring.
It's getting very late in the draft here for Nocturne, as we usually see him quite early, but it is going to be the jungle bads coming in. I wouldn't be too upset with seeing this Viego go into SOFM's hands. I feel like when you're putting in a jungle priority, you're banning away all these different AD junglers. You can go for something like that and give Angel or Bin a counter pick in that top side or mid lane, as we wait to see now what they want to go for. And EDG, they are respecting it. They don't think it's going to be Angel on the Viego again. They feel like it is going to be SOFM, so they ban away the Twisted Fate.
And I think that was a really good ban, right? When you see Akali, a lot of times you think of Twisted Fate for that Destiny coming out, making it an annoyance for Akali to utilize that Shroud. Maybe also ban away the Sylas, I think would be the other pick. We've seen a lot into the Akali. It's been a bit of a back and forth matchup where players are a bit divided on who is able to win at what time windows, but I definitely think Angel can bring that one into the mid lane and go up against whatever Scout would pick. Again, right now we're under the assumption that Flandre will be the one to bring out the Akali. We know Scout can play the champion, but it has been one of Flandre's best picks. And the Sylas is gone.
Yep, you are the prophet, my son. You have able to predict exactly what they want to get rid of. It's that big analytical brain of yours working overtime as you are starting to hit the AM where you are. As we now see what's
5 a.m. baby, let's go.
Your mother would be proud. My son's up at 5 a.m. He didn't go to sleep, but he is up at 5 a.m. as we see the LeBlanc locked in here for Angel. And again, I like this. I like seeing people like SOFM and Angel on things that can create their own advantages.
It's also really interesting, Suning's comp of what they put together so far. like, we don't know where Viego's going to go because we know SOFM has played that in the jungle. You are setting up for what could be a 1-3-1 composition with both Viego and LeBlanc in the solo lanes. You have such fantastic wave clear in that 3-man coming out from Bin and SOFM. Karma also, LeBlanc, I'm sorry, also works pretty well with poke compositions because of, you know, being able to distort over walls, just kind of put down your damage, start a chain or a Q. And EDG gonna bring out the Gwen. So it does seem like it will be Scout playing the Akali. Flandre has had some significant moments on the Gwen. And EDG going to be another pick that takes up this new Hecarim. We do know he's much more of like an AD sort of glass cannon build where you go in, hopefully delete the enemy. But at the same time, if you go in, it is very easy for you to be taken down.
Very easy indeed, and we'll see now exactly how JJ pilots this champion as we're waiting for the final pick here for Suning. And they are going to lock in the Jax. Okay, the 1-3-1, the thing you talked about, the full split push coming out here for the side of Suning.
And this is really interesting because this is one of the champions that a lot of people were talking about early on when Gwen was released that do extremely well into the Gwen matchup. We know his level 1 is extremely strong as well, right? Gwen ease in, gets the attack speed, the bonus range, the damage, a whole shebang, but then Jax just pops his Counter-Strike. What are you able to do? So Suning, I think, have a very clear composition with the side lane pressure coming in. I think Viego slots in a little bit awkwardly, but you have a very skirmish heavy top side, so I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of action breaking out early on there.
Wait to see how both of these compositions end up filling out onto the Rift. Of course, EDG only one win away from continuing their undefeated streak to 5-0. Suning, though, will want to try and put a halt to that, at least in the interim, and send us to a third game. And for Suning, they've got to make this Jax work. The one thing you know about Jax, like, yes, he's fantastic in that side lane. Yes, he's great in the split push, but if he gets put behind, he is so unbelievably useless apart from, you know, basically pushing in waves. He's very, very susceptible to early ganks if you can catch him out before, off his leap strike, and it'll be on to EDG to take advantage of that. And for the side of Suning, they can keep the game nice and even. If they can keep themselves in a nice even footing, they should be able to get that split push working for them.
I also want to see what build he goes for on the Jax, right? Does he go for the Blade of the Rune King first and get, you know, more skirmishing in that 1v1 coming out from the passive of Blade of the Rune King? Is Divine Sunder still just so absolutely broken that he goes towards that first rather than going towards the Blade? So we're going to learn a lot from Bin. Bin, of course, is a Jax and Camille main, so whenever he is piloting either of those champions, you can definitely learn a lot from watching him.
We are jumping onto the Rift, which could be the final time today. Suning get themselves into the enemy red side jungle, but a nice little Tribush ward stops any kind of level 1 shenanigans. They just put down the vision, make sure that they are in full control of that bot side, and the side of EDG are going to put the exact same in the top side of their jungle. So, pretty much just a trade of information for either side. No one really gains or loses anything.
And I want to see what EDG do with their early game. Hecarim's clear is actually still pretty decent. I know I've seen some people maybe kind of question how good Hecarim would be in terms of clear, but still not too bad, considerable to other fast clearing junglers. Viego, we know, is much slower in terms of his own clear, and this time around, we're going to see SOFM dodge that ward at first. It's actually going to solo start Raptors. I mean, Viego's AoE clear is actually pretty good, right? Your Q able to hit a lot of the Raptors, 5 seconds, not too bad. You're going to be healing up from all of them as well.
They dodged out the ward as he started the solo Raptors, but did walk past it on his way to the Krugs, so they know exactly where SOFM is and where he will be going in the near future. As you can see now with Huanfeng and On having the opportunity to be in this bot side, you can see Mako already taking a lot of hurt, down below half HP before he even gets to level 2, and this is kind of honestly why we probably saw SOFM not take the leash in the last game. You cannot really allow the Karma Ezreal to get such a strong foothold so early.
No, definitely not. And now they're going to be pushing a tower. They're going to be zoned off the wave, lose a bit of CS. So not going to work out the same way it did last time around, but reverse. Still, EDG, we know, are waiting for that level 6 power spike to come out with Chains of Corruption and the ultimate from the Nautilus. Flandre taking the Ghost has been pretty common. We've seen him take it almost consistently when he does go on the Gwen. Gwen having a few summoner spell choices. We've seen the Ignite. We've seen the Ghost. We've even seen the Barrier come out. But Ghost, much more of a team fighting rune. And we've seen Gwen, in my opinion, sure, you do have a lot of strong matchups on sides, but you are much more of a team fighting champion in my mind because of the amount of AoE damage in your kit coming out, especially with your ultimate. And then your W doing such a good job of being able to stand in front of champions like an Ezreal and a Karma, and then it's very awkward where like, hey, do we actually run into her and put damage down on her, or what do we do because their backline's putting damage down on us? You know, like Hollowed Mist gives a lot of, I'd say, annoyance to the enemy team.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the Gwen is definitely built, as you said, for those kind of skirmishes around Dragon Pits, around Rift Heralds, as we see now both junglers clearing out both sides of their jungle, also getting a scuttle each, so no one really going to be that much further ahead than the others. We've seen engage in this bot side. Cleanse has been used by Huanfeng. He's taking a lot of damage. The exhaust went down on top of Viper, but he picks himself up a kill, forces the flash out of Huanfeng, and out of nowhere, this 2v2 gets themselves a kill.
And I'm guessing Mako just found a hook, right? That's the only thing that comes to mind. Mako finds a hook onto either On or Huanfeng, and they're able to secure that 2v2. I'm sure we will get a replay as we even see JJ hovering down towards bottom side, waiting for his Krugs to come up. Angel having pressure in this mid lane matchup is no surprise. We are going to get the replay, and keep your eyes on Mako. Just really nice, right on the edge of the minion. Sure, the cleanse comes out, but they have the damage down. Nice use of passive as well, getting that onto On. And even able to force out the flash in the end. Really big win for the side of EDG. When you're playing such a fragile poke lane like Ezreal Karma, when you don't have your flashes available or summoner spells up, it makes it so much more dangerous to go for that poke and chip away those turret plates, which is the goal of this duo lane.
Yeah, I think if that taught me anything, it was don't E aggressively to get down a poke. It's just not really worth it onto a Nautilus, especially as we can see now SOFM going to be spotted out on this ward, so they know exactly where he is. There should be no danger now to Flandre, who's actually running with the Ghost instead of an Ignite or a Flash. I actually just noticed that, so double Ghosts here for EDG as they find themselves, their jungle and their support duo now roaming into this jungle, seeing if they can catch any camps, but thankfully for the side of Suning and SOFM, he had already cleared those.
Still going to get some vision down. I also want to highlight that SOFM clearly did not watch Flandre's pre-game interview. He asked him to not go topside and not to try to just bully him down, but still going to do that. Instead, we're going to see JJ bullying out SOFM, taking away his wolves. Doing a nice job so far. His top quadrant camps are also up, so he's going to have a very easy time of heading over to those. I wonder if Suning will try to use this window to gank bot where there's no camps up topside, and you can see Viper and Mako aggressively pushing forward. You know Viper also has no flash.
Level 6 here now for Flandre. He's got the needlework, and you can see him there just kind of zoning away Bin. As Bin just used the leap strike to get himself back towards this wave. He knows that he can't really lose that much experience, and chipping down of his health bar here as Flandre just keeps landing those Qs, keeps getting the snip, snip, snip down, and Bin is very much struggling now into the Gwen.
Yeah, and he leap strike to the minion, right? Wanted to get the XP hit level 6 because he felt confident that he wouldn't be able to be dove, but still, Flandre able to zone him off this turret. Does still have TP up if he wants to elect into the reset. We know Flandre already has. That's why this matchup is so one-sided right now, right? We see Flandre went for the back, was able to come back to lane full HP, gets the Lucidity boots, so also being able to spam those abilities quite a bit more, but now, with the Vampiric Scepter and Pickaxe coming out, I think Bin should be just fine up in this top lane matchup. Maybe more than just fine.
More than just fine. Ghost was popped there by Flandre as he tries to get himself away. I've got JJ here, Angel following in tow. Are able to get the Summoner, but they are not able to get anything else. And now Flandre's in a little bit of a sticky situation. He needs to try and push this wave out again because he has not got good back timing and no teleport to try and mitigate it either.
Yeah, that's the thing. So we are seeing JJ able to hover up around the top side of the map right now. Lucky for him, the Honey Fruit is there. We also know that Bin is going to go for the Blade of the Rune King. So I think at that first item mark is when we should be expecting him to be able to do quite well into these trades. JJ hovering, making sure that he can catch this wave safely like you were highlighting. And Bin just going to get another reset off.
Going forwards that Blade of the Rune King, so picks himself up the dagger. But as you can see, Huanfeng taking a hell of a lot of punishment in this bot side as Viper just keeps landing those piercing arrows. And this is honestly fine for Viper. He's level 6. He's got the Chain of Corruption, which he had to use. As you can see, it's on cooldown. So they tried to go aggressive onto him, and he was able to kite it back without losing any summoners. So the likes of Mako on this Nautilus is free to move around, is free to get up into those top lanes or side lanes and create advantages for the side of EDG.
Also interesting to note that every member of EDG is up in gold on their counterpart other than Scout against Angel's LeBlanc. Does make sense. This is a lane that is pretty fine for LeBlanc early on. It isn't until, you get a few more levels under your belt as a Kali, you can start playing around that Shroud, trying to dodge out on the chain. And then at level 6, when there is some kill pressure available, where Scout really starts coming back into this matchup, which is why he's finally started to equalize those CS numbers.
Again, lots of posturing, I think is the word we're looking for here, as Suning try and find advantages. They are happy to scale, though. The Viego, the Jax, the Ezreal, they will all scale absolutely. Hell, the LeBlanc, because now JJ maybe looking for something here. Has got the Onslaught of Shadows, but definitely a difficult one to make stick. Just going to turn and burn towards that Rift Herald. But yeah, I think if you're on the side of Suning, you're kind of okay with this, game state right now. If it stays like this, there's no real issues. There's no dragon stackings. There's no problems.
And at the same time, EDG cannot do this Herald, right? Suning at Prio in mid, Suning at Prio in top. Viper will be here first, so there will be a small window. But I don't think Suning are any slouches when it comes to a teamfight right now.
The EDG, though, jumps straight in. The Chain of Corruption lands down. They're able to take that kill off. You can see Scout underneath the tower. Might have gone a little bit too far forward, and SOFM gets a return kill. So it's mid laner for support, but you got to take that trade if you're Suning. You'll take that any day of the week.
And Scout just going so far forward, allowing Suning to be able to find a punish. No Rift Herald going to be able to be done in the end, and that's about what we expected, right? Both your soul lanes are getting pushed in. We see a lot of members of Suning are already on the board. They're already over here. A little bit over-ambitious on the side of EDG. I think JJ is still hoping to find an opportunity on top side with the fact of how well Flandre has done so far, but with the fact that Suning are still on top side, they're going to be the ones to start up the Rift Herald this time around, even keeping Huanfeng up this whole time.
Now, Viper is here. He's going to be able to put down a nice bit of coat. Mako misses the dredge line. I think that's just going to be pretty much give over the Rift Herald now to the side of Suning. You cannot fight that anymore. Would have been nice had he caught somebody out if you're an EDG fan, but sadly for them, they are not able to make anything happen. But while that was all happening, we did see a lot of free time going over to Flandre in the top side. Now we're actually starting to see Bin have a little bit more agency into this Gwen. Really kind of, with that Vampiric Scepter, able to kind of continue to harass and, push himself in and out of these fights.
Yeah, and even popped his ultimate to look for that trade, but still forced the ultimate trade coming out from Flandre. I would love to see the Rift Herald given over to Bin so we can start to be a menace in that side lane even earlier. I don't think it's a big deal if you give over the first Drake to the side of EDG, especially with the fact that it's a Cloud Drake. But we're going to see EDG were the ones to engage this play. Saw a really good opening onto On. Scout feels like he found the opportunity onto Angel, but sadly isn't able to get it. E comes out, the other members of Suning are here, and he just gets punished for his over-aggression.
Yeah, just gets caught out, and really nice punish there by Suning, and it could have been a good play for EDG. Just feels like Scout maybe got a little bit too antsy about it and forced himself into a very poor position. Now EDG, do they look for this dragon? You can see them, they're stacking everyone towards this bot side. They've got top wave pushed in. They have a teleport available here for Flandre, so he would be able to join, and I feel like this should be an easy objective now for EDG to be able to kind of answer back.
Yeah, EDG have the tempo. They should be able to do this, but I doubt they will, because since they are showing on vision, they don't know where members of Suning are. Looks like they're trying to scout it out to see if it is safe. And SOFM going to head towards the opposite side of the map. It goes to what I was saying earlier. I would actually like to see SOFM put that gold into Bin, get him even stronger, start playing around him more, get some deeper vision down on the top side of the map. Your bottom lane's already lost a few plates. You don't have the resources now to cover them, so just keep pushing this Jax even further.
Oh, see a little bit of a picture-in-picture. Another good frame-perfect cleanse as do you see
really nice from Viper as well. Really aggressive. That's what we want to see, Penguin.
I was gonna say, it's exactly what we want to see, and it's why we have such praise, such high praise for someone like Viper, because he just creates momentum and opportunities on his own. He doesn't need a support. He is a strong, independent AD carry who don't need no support. And he is getting himself summoner spell trades. He is getting himself into opportunities to create, you know, kills for his team, even on something like a Varus, which would be, you know, not seen as such a dueler, if you will.
Yeah, Viper, always someone who's ready to make those plays. With the fact that On is looking for the reset right now, Viper and Mako probably going to be able to bully out even more heavily in the bottom lane. If Wanfeng walks too far forward, Mako can even always just look for the all-in. So thus far, it's very much been a bit of a split map situation, kind of resulting of what happened after the immediate laning phases, right? Both teams have realized where their strong sides are, where their prio's coming from. And Bin and SOFM going to once again look for Flandre.
Oh, Flandre might be in a lot of trouble here as he jumps in. There is the counter-strike down. Does drop down the mist, but not able to get away from this one, even with the ghost. He's just not fast enough. You got flashes, you got jumps, you've got so many ways of making this one work, and Suning get a kill onto the Jax. And this is where EDG start to question a couple of the tactics coming into this game, because this Jax is starting to get scary.
And you're really going to have no good way of dealing with him in the side lane, right? He's going to be so fine up against either Scout or Flandre. Sure, maybe those two-man plays start coming out on the side lane from the side of EDG, but then you're able to win out so heavily on the opposite side of the map as Suning. And this is one of those matchups that Bin should be able to pretty consistently win now, even if he does end up giving over a kill or two. If ganks start coming out, Jax will always be able to win the 1v1 against Flandre from this point forward, from my understanding of the matchup, though Flandre does have Riftmaker coming out.
Nice little spike for him. I would have liked to actually see the plated steel caps for Flandre. I know the Ionian Boots of Lucidity are fantastically good, but you're looking at Jax, Viego, Ezreal, like it's a lot of auto attack AD based champions. It would have been a nice little pickup there for the Gwen, but not to be. As we now move towards everyone kind of getting their first real items. We actually almost have a second item here for Bin as he's building up towards his, I believe it is a Triforce with the new way it is set up. But waiting to see now double Divine Sunderer here for the Viego and the Ezreal. We have Divine Sunderer here for the Hecarim, Proto Belt here for the Akali, and this Prowler's Claw for the Varus. Means this dragon fight in 2 minutes might get pretty testy if both these teams are feeling confident.
Yeah, I want to especially see how Suning decide to play it out when they are running this sort of composition, right? You're going to have the poke able to come out from SOFM, Angel, and On, but... I mean, I'm sorry, Angel, Huanfeng, and On, but you don't really have a front line. So I feel like pretty much any solid 5v5 is where EDG should feel extremely confident. Dragging up in about 1:30. You should expect in about, 30 to 40 seconds, EDG are just going to start transitioning down towards the middle of the map, try to contest mid-wave as they're doing now. They should be able to win from how far ahead Viper is and start getting that bottom side vision.
And while we have a little bit of a lull in the play, I actually have a question that's kind of been burning in my head, and I wonder, I'm going to put you on the spot for a little bit, but why do we see Varus's running for the Prowler's Claw instead of something like the Dustbringer?
I feel like there's a few small points where, especially the passives, right? It's very hard to utilize something like the Duskblade invisibility to where the dash on something like the Prowler's Claw, sure, it's not something you see utilized all too often, but it is something that can either be used offensively or defensively. Sure, it has to be through minions or enemies or allies, but still is able to be utilized.
Thank you. It's genuinely something that's been kind of niggling at the back of my head of just kind of like, why don't we see this? But just as we were talking
is
about
also
it,
quite nice.
Oh, Scout does force the TP out of Bin as he found him out in the bush there. But yeah, it's funny actually you said it's like something we don't normally see, just as Viper went for a Prowler's Claw play with the Chain of Corruption. So did end up not getting any purchase from that, but nevertheless, we do see Suning picking up the Rift Herald, and 7 seconds till this dragon spawns. Bin did use TP to get out, so does not have theirs walking
Penguin,
straight to it.
Real fast, I just remembered that we are not on 11.13, so this is still the patch where Prowler's Claw has more lethality as well.
Yes, you're absolutely correct. the joys of having to get 2 different patches for life and for what LPL is working on. But you see the Dragon now being started up here for the side of EDG. SOFM is around. It has vision that it is going down. Mako playing bodyguard. Keep away, if you will. TP coming in. Suning want to fight. Dragon goes down. If they can go for something here, maybe they go for it. But they actually just use the dredge line very weirdly onto the scuttle. TP was used, but Suning do not find any kind of engage, and they back themselves away.
Yeah, and that's just a massive win for the side of EDG, being able to bait out those double teleports, right? When you're the team that does have prio inside, especially with your strong jacks, now you're not going to be able to utilize those as much. You're not going to be able to make any cross-map plays coming out. EDG now will actually be able to force you around the map, considering they have double teleport. They can make numbers advantage plays on sides, and we are going to get a replay of how things started off. Bin trying to TP away, does get away in the end. Scout not able to find the kill, but really nice play coming out from Scout, who did decide to go the Rocket Belt rather than the Rift Maker this time around. Makes sense. I feel like when you look at these compositions, right, Suning's composition, very squishy. It's going to be very burst reliant. Things will go down very fast, so you're trying to get in and out. It's not about stacking up that Rift Maker for, you know, more damage, more healing, anything like that. So Scout going the aggressive assassin choice.
Looking to burst people down on the backsides if he possibly can, as we can see EDG moving forward with their vision, making sure they have full control over this top side as they try and help out Flandre. They don't want to get caught out by anyone, as SOFM now finds himself a pink ward. And 2 items onto Bin right now, Triforce as well as the Blade of the Ruined King. So he's getting there. He is getting to the point of critical mass, of not being able to be kind of dealt with by Flandre in that side lane. We are going to see the Rift Herald be spawned, no, sorry, taken, excuse me, by, no, it was spawned, excuse me, by the side of Suning, but just going to get a charge down to get about half HP off that turret. Nothing else will really come of it, and again, it's just a little bit of damage, nothing more to really, you know, be worried about.
Yeah, now we have a really interesting dynamic, right, where Scout has pressure on Angel, but vice versa, Bin having pressure over Flandre, so you're seeing both teams able to get vision down on opposite sides of the map. We do see now that Scout has defaulted into the bottom lane, so gonna do his best, see if he can catch out Angel, who's playing a bit respectfully, but still, this should open up opportunity for Suiting to be able to control topside vision. I feel like EDG are aggressively walking forward right now because they do know they have those TP advantages to rely on.
Yeah, using that global pressure, and you can see there just Scout popping himself back out of vision, putting himself in a brush, saying, right, you don't know exactly where I am, and you don't know where I'm going to be, but on saying that, they're going to jump straight onto Flandre, who is just dead. Nothing he can do about that one there. Bin picks up his 2nd kill of the game, and this combination of the Viego and Jax seems very, very powerful in those 2v1 ganks.
Exactly, right? We said, hey, Viego slots in kind of awkwardly, but that's one thing Viego will be great at the whole time, because you have so much burst and damage in your kit that you're going to be able to find these very quick kills on side lanes no matter what. So Suning have the wave clear set up in the mid lane, have the disengage there. Quan Fong and On will be fine. It just should be pretty rinse and repeat for this coming out for the side of Suning. Still, EDG sitting 2 Drakes up can try to play for that soul win condition, then try to make their way towards Elder. They do have the double, if not triple frontline, because I feel like Gwen is a pseudo frontliner in herself, coming out, providing Viper a lot of safety, and Scout right now being the point of strength for EDG's composition.
I think it's a very big point of strength. And speaking of point of strength, another point of strength for the side of EDG is they have got those 2 early Drakes. The next one will be spawning in a minute 15 seconds, and this is where, you know, the game can kind of run away from you if you're Suning. And again, it's kind of that similar situation which they talked about, which they, you know, we see all the time, where they just let something slip away just a little bit too much, and they just can't do anything about it once it's already done and dusted. So be curious to see now if Suning are willing to be able to fight around this dragon in a minute's time.
And I'm surprised to see Suning posturing like they want to contest this, but EDG are making a play on mid.
It is JJ. On does drop out from the ultimate of Varus. No Chain of Corruption will land, but he has taken a hell of a lot of poke. Now the dragon spawning in 30 seconds. They're going to throw On back into the base, get him back onto the rift as quick as they possibly can, but it will be EDG at the dragon pit first.
And importantly, Suning have control of top wave. We see Bin pushing that one out now. Looks like he's going to start heading over towards mid. SOFM trying to do a good job of controlling vision, but EDG going to open 2 rounds to be able to walk into river. Ooh, Angel just being a little bit cheeky. Looks like SOFM and Angel hoping that Scout will walk through river and they can just lay down that immediate burst coming down, maybe catch him out with the ethereal chains coming out from the LeBlanc.
Well, TP there from Scout as he gets himself into the game again. TP going to be on the backside, though. That's Flandre. He's going to try and find out SOFM. They're going to be able to catch him out. Onslaught of Shadows into the audacious charge. And that is Flandre with a perfectly placed TP. They didn't sweep the ward. And that is going to be Dragon Soul point for EDG.
And that's the one thing about EDG's comp, right? It has a ton of lockdown, has a ton of damage against your composition, so those kinds of mistakes can't come out. EDG look like they're gonna look to at least threaten a Baron, maybe not fully commit, but at least try to force a fight. SOFM is down, so no smite. Suning will have to contest this.
I mean, they would burn this quite quickly as well. You've got yourself the true damage from Flandre's Gwen, as well as Viper on this this Varus, as we now see. Mako not quite able to get the hook down, and that means that EDG are going to have to back themselves away. They try to commit to the bait and go for the fight afterwards, but Mako just missing the point blank hook means they cannot go for any more, and they actually might lose mid lane turret for that.
Suning definitely will get this one. Gonna be a bit more gold for them. Still doesn't really change the dynamic of the map because EDG's composition will always be the one that should be able to control mid-wave, so Suning won't be able to use that to get vision in their quadrants of the jungle, but we are going to see that TP that you were talking about come out from Flandre, and just really nice lockdown coming out from the members of EDG, not allowing him to escape and picking up that quick kill. Still, though, the fact that Suning didn't lose a Baron feels quite nice for them, and now we're going to go back to keeping our eyes on the side lanes as Bin might get picked off. Mako's making his way around.
He is making his way around, and they now know where he is. He wasn't quite in the bush just there. Has been now in a little bit of trouble. Going to get himself depth charged. Going to have the counter strike to only land onto 1, and that is going to be donated to the Scout Fund on this Akali. And now you can see the reaction play here in the mid lane. Good onslaught of Shadows to just delay and fear everybody away. Viper gets to use all his summoners, but he gets to keep his life.
And JJ doing such a good job of making sure they aren't able to follow up on that. SOFM, I'm assuming, open up that play with ultimate, so not having that available to finish off the kill already being used. Viper going to live because that could have snowballed pretty out of proportion had they gotten the kill onto Viper, get the reset, turn onto JJ, turn that into something else, and then guess what? You're the team now threatening for the Baron.
We're running out of time before this Dragon Soul does spawn. 2 minutes 45 seconds, so just over or just under 3 minutes before it. And little bits of advantages going over the side of EDG, and again, similar to game 1, we are seeing Suning have a great advantage at the start, looking like they're able to go toe-to-toe, but EDG just get ahead, and there's nothing. Suning kind of, they just kind of panic. They don't really know where they need to be. They don't really know where they need to go. And now they're looking down the barrel of Soul Point. They have to fight in 2 minutes. They have to. They can't let this one go.
Yeah, Suning have looked really torn between contesting and matching EDG on objectives or just committing to trading sides of the map and playing for the advantage on your jacks. We do see Mako might be giving over an advantage himself.
Yeah, he's definitely most certainly going to be falling here. He does get a lot of CC before he goes down. He actually commits a hell of a lot on top of him. Angel has no health, and because of the delay, you can see now EDG, they've got the rest of their members here, and there's nowhere for anyone on the side of Suning to go. They have to back away, and that's going to be Baron.
Yeah, and once again, EDG come out, a bit of a dicey game, but they find a way to get an advantage. Flandre?
Okay. Just use the Zonyas, whatever, it's fine, but taking so much damage with that piercing arrow, and now Suning, they're in panic stations. They need to try and find a way to stop this Baron from going down. It's all on Huanfeng and Angel, and it looks like they have enough poke. EDG do not want to risk themselves losing the Dragon Soul. They are going to back themselves away. They'll just take the 2 kills and walk out of it.
That's the big thing, right? It might be a LeBlanc, she might be an assassin, but she works very well in these sorts of compositions. She is pretty much a poke champion, able to go in, dish out damage, and then back out quickly. So Angel and Huanfeng doing their best to make sure no Barons are able to come out. We're going to see the initial pick on Mako, who just an unfortunate pathing through mid from River, going to get caught out in the end. But oh my god, that damage coming out from Viper on Angel, and just the damage coming out from Viper overall. JJ and Flandre also coming in to keep the members of Suiting there, so they are able to find those picks, but Dragon's about to come up.
Dragon is about to come up. There is no flash on Angel or SOFM. There isn't one on Viper either. So there's the big key summoners. We'll see what Scout's able to do in the backside, or if Bin can make himself a menace on top of this Varus with no escape. Now Angel is going to find JJ. This is the kind of tankier version of what we've seen with the Hecarim. He has gone towards the Starks Gauge, and of course, you know, he's got a bit of HP behind him, but definitely not the tankiest we've ever seen. Now Suiting, they're trying to push in as a 4-man with Angel hovering off to the right on top of that ramp. Now the Dragon has spawned. Dredgeline misses, and we're going to see if the side of EDG feel comfortable or confident to go for this. They haven't really landed any poke from the Varus, and that's kind of what you need right now. You need to kind of land a couple of these. There you go. There we go. On takes about half his HP with one piercing arrow. Flandre finds Angel and backs him up behind the blue buff. They do land the Kind of Corruption onto Bin, and Bin's already out of this fight. He has to get himself out. He needs to walk away. The Dragon goes over. That's the Ocean Soul, and then the fight can really begin. Angel couldn't find an opportunity, and we can see Scout flashes forward with the perfect execution. He's feeling it. He knows he can get the kills. He picks up 2, and now the rest of EDG, they can barrel down mid.
I also feel like EDG, the damage from Viper is so insane, right? It doesn't matter if you have more champions on the side of Suiting that can put out long-range damage, like Ezreal, Karma, and LeBlanc. They just don't have any member who's able to eat it, who's able to absorb it, buy time, look for an engage. They just kind of stand there. They don't really have any engage options available, right? No one on this team engages. What does LeBlanc do? Jump in, chain, and then what? Jax runs in, Viego runs in. They're just going to get instantly deleted. You have a ton of CC from the side of EDG as well, so whenever we're in these standoffs, whenever we're in these team fights, whenever we're really contesting anything in a full-on, like, 4v4, 5v5, it just feels like EDG should come out ahead, as we are going to get Scout's point of view. Starts up with Rocket Belt, throwing down the Q, putting more damage down. First ult into Shroud. Oh, flashes over. Instantly deletes 2 of them. And that was some nice play coming out from Scout Akali. And this is what we were highlighting before the game, right? Champions like this. Champions that have agency. Our split pushers, our assassins, our bruisers. That's where Scout has always looked best in recent years, in my opinion. It's where Scout has thrived. This is Scout meta, Penguin. Scout meta.
And Lord knows that any EDG fan wants it to last forever, because he is just looking so damn clean and important. And this is the biggest thing I always say when we talk about our top players and our top teams. Consistently doing it. Not on and off, not coming in and having a fantastic game and then backing away and not being able to do anything. He has been 100% all-time one of the best players so far this split. Now, it's still got a hell of a lot of games to go, but we've already played a hell of a lot of games, so it's definitely a fantastic time to be a Scout and EDG fan, as Suiting again and again, like we talked about, you mentioned it, and I just want to kind of double down on it, like, how do you engage on this? You picked a 1-3-1, you picked a split-pushing composition, and then you let the Dragons run away from you, where you were forced into a situation where you have to fight. You can't let this one go, and at that stage, it's like, well, you have to fight, but how? How are you going to fight this one? You don't have any engage, and EDG just playing their composition correctly, EDG playing their composition to a T, and EDG are the ones that are going to be able to crack open this base at 31 minutes.
I mean, in split push, the way it traditionally is thought of, is pretty much dead in this meta, right? It's all about grouping, fighting for those drakes. As EDG finally engage. Oh my god.
Jesus. We just broke Twitch's terms of use with that one. That was just monstrous amount of damage there coming out from the Varus. And now you've no Karma, you've no shields. What are you supposed to do now, Suiting? You're just watching your base disappear in front of you.
You accept the punishment that's being brought down, Penguin.
There is no other word for it other than punishment, as we can see Mako on fire with these hooks, and they are able to put SOFM into his Guardian Angel, and they may just try and take him out. Another sniper from Viper as he gets himself down. Another kill in his column, 3-0 and 5. This game is all but done now for the side of EDG. They just need to take down the last few structures, take down the Nexus, and they 2-0 in this series, and they go 5-0 in the LPL Summer 2021 split.
Might not have been clean, might have been a little shaky, a little dicey. Looked like a lot of times there where Suning could have won in both games. And the other day you win. I also want to throw out Mako on tanks. That hits home. We love when Mako's on tanks, you know? Karma game wasn't the cleanest, wasn't the hottest. He thought he had a little bit more durability than he did when he was walking up to take vision by himself, but it worked out in Viper. Viper was a monster. I feel like JJ is the first person who's made Hecarim look like it worked, and we saw EDG just kind of wait out and be like, hey, we know at some point we're just going to beat them because their comp has no engage, has no front line. It's more of a 1-4 than a 1-3-1 just for the fact that Akali will beat LeBlanc in sides, but still, like, they weren't trying to utilize side lane pressure into, like, picks or tempo or really anything, though. It felt hard to do because anytime we saw the teams have a standoff that was even, just no member of Suning is able to get in range to do damage. And sure, you're having LeBlanc kind of jump in, throw out chains, you're having Poke come out from Karma and Ezreal, but you saw the members of EDG were just able to absorb it and then just re-engage.
It just felt, again, like you said, the draft difference and also the decision making from EDG is just so crisp and so clean, and immediately once they go for one call, everyone commits to it. Everyone's moving together as a unit, everyone's going in on the same kind of, you know, momentum and the same kind of idea of what they are trying to achieve. For Suning, it just felt like they were trying to do too many things, too many cooks, you know, spoiling the broth, and I just, it's disappointing because we know these players. These are world finalist players. These are guys that are able to go toe-to-toe with the best in the world. They're just not finding it. And honestly, I know we've been harping on about it for so long, but it highlights to me, more so than anything, the importance that Sword Art brought to this team. Sword Art was the glue that kept this massive amount of magnets that just don't want to work together. It just, Sword Art was so key to this lineup as a shot caller that now he's gone. We're starting to see the ramifications of that. They're still a good team. They're still able to show us like moments of like, yes, these teams could pretty much beat anybody in the league, but they're not bringing it together. The execution's not there.
I also feel like when it comes to Suning, there have been two styles they've really thrived on. One is accelerating your jungle, putting all of your gold into him, and that's why last year worked out so well for him when we were in a place of like Kindred and Graves every game. And then the other thing is Suning have looked best and most comfortable in both iterations, Sword Art and then post-Sword Art, when they play pick comps, when it's like, hey, either we have globals around the map or we have ways of getting tempo, creating numbers advantage, and picking you off in the enemy jungle. Even On is adapted to playing around SOFM a little bit this split and being able to invade with him, enable him to do that. And right, we didn't see Suning draft a comp that allowed for something like that to come out this time around. It seemed like they were very focused on getting counter picks and takeaways. Like, okay, we're going to take away the Ezreal Karma. We're going to get a counter pick for abandoned player on that. And then it didn't really make the most holistic thing. And also, man, Viper was an absolute monster this game. The fact that anytime he was on our screen, we saw someone either go to half HP or just die was ridiculous.
It was just so much damage. He was able to get those blighted quivers off so damn well. And
the 2v2 kill.
Yeah, the 2v2 kill. Like, the guy... again, it's the conversation that as long as Viper and Jackie Love are in the same league, it's going to be that conversation of who is the better AD carry. But like Viper, just the consistency from this man, it's just so insane. He's able to just put out these damage numbers, able to be such a threat on such a consistently high basis that I just can't help but just be so damn impressed with him every time I watch him.
Please give me Viper versus Ruler. That's what I want to see, right? Look. We have the Jackie Love, right? We have this like high variance, like insane carry, sometime no impact player. But you have these like two players who are just so consistent, you know. To me, that's the ultimate showdown. That's like the rookie versus Knight, but like right now of 80 carries is Viper versus Ruler. So yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Viper, I think most likely, definitely, probably, maybe gonna get MVP. Gonna add a lot of caveats there, just in case I'm totally wrong.
Do you want to add any more like stipulations to that, just in case?
you know, if not, maybe Mako get maybe. So
it's gotta be
okay.
It's gotta
take it away, Penguin.
I mean, it's just gonna be. He's just so damn good. But we kind of look at the congratulations on one side, and for Suning, it's just not coming together. Obviously I'm quite harsh on them because they were the world finalists, and that's the way I always kind of see it, is that like I expect more from them, and they have a big test coming up now this weekend. They actually have 2 big tests over the next 2 weeks. They've got LGD and they've got RNG, so 2 big games coming up for them if they want to try and, you know, build back this season.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Everything you said was extremely important.
You can introduce it.
But we heard that Mako's the MVP, and we were both totally wrong. But hey, I said it at the end of that game, right? Mako on tanks hits home, and I mean he showed that. He had a lot of really good engages this time around. He looks so at home on champions, whether it's the Nautilus, the Alistar, things along those lines, and he was the one who set EDG up for success from an early level. He's the one that, you know, raised his baby chicken into, you know, a full-grown, like, mother hen or rooster, whatever Viper would be.
I mean, Viper was more of like, I don't know, like a griffin, I suppose. Just someone who can just come in and kill your ass. Just like, ah! But, yeah, honestly, like, Mako was everywhere. And this has kind of been the theme of the day when Mako and, of course, when Ming earlier today was able to facilitate their team, and they were able to create opportunities with the Nautiluses and with the hard engages that we saw. God, every time I see that, it doesn't make it any easier to watch. But it shows the power of supports right now, and it shows you that, like, it doesn't matter the laning matchups, it doesn't matter how you know, kind of are laning in terms of like what you're against, the poke matchup, which, you know, all intents and purposes, the only rule you have to follow for Suning is don't get hooked. But when you're against something like Mako, that's a hell of a lot easier said than done. So fantastic to see Mako getting that MVP, and really thoroughly deserved, and a little bit of support love there for the side of EDG. But we're going to go from the bot lane to the top lane, as we're going to send up to Wendy, who's chatting to Flandre of ADG.
Hi guys, welcome to interview, and now I'm standing by with Splendor from Our Gaming after 2-0 victory against Suning. So congratulations on this win, and now Our Gaming is on a 5-winning streak. The whole team just seems unstoppable, so I'm satisfied with team's performance till now. And today you are facing your old friend SOFM. So have you guys said anything to each other maybe before this best of 3? 那首先恭喜你们，今天也是2-0漂亮的拿下比赛的胜利，现在也来到了5连胜嘛，所以说觉得队伍是不是就是现在的状态或者说现在的表现你还满意吗？然后而且今天也是面对你的老朋友骚粉嘛，那赛前2个人有没有稍微说一些什么呢？
我觉得我们队伍最近5连胜嘛，状态还是比较 OK 的，但是还是有地方可以改进的，就希望后面越来越好。今天跟肥哥收粉就是赛前也说了，谁赢了谁请吃饭了。
I think because we are on a 5-winning streak, so currently we are on a very good form, but we still made some mistakes in the actual game. So I believe we can have an even better performance in the future. And before this best of 3, we talked to SOFM that the one that got the win for this best of 3 will just invite a dinner to the opponents. And definitely you'll be the one that invite SOFM a dinner. So my next question is, in today's game 1, and I think the game was very intense, but Our Gaming were able to just got the win through a very coordinated team fights in the late game. So could you know more about the communication inside the team? 那第一局其实我们感觉到中后期还是比较焦灼的，但是呢，我们感觉 EDG 通过一个更有协调性、更配合的一个团战，最后是拿下了比赛的胜利。所以我们也比较好奇，你们可能在后期可能队内的一些沟通是怎么样的呢？
当时其实我们阵容选出来就已经决定好拖后期了，因为我们 EZ 卡玛的体系后面是比较厉害的，所以一点都不慌嘛，拖到后面就随便 Viper 发挥就行。
After the ban pick phase with our composition, we just would like to just drag the whole team, drag the game to the late game, because with Ezreal as well as Karma, those two Badu can be super strong in the late game. So we just try not to rush and try to calm down to just because we think in the late game, Viper just have a huge room to perform so good in the team fights, and also based on his mechanics. And definitely the game 1 was a very clean victory from Our Gaming. And I want to talk a bit more about the ban pick strategy in the game 2, because the opponent's team, they just in the 5th pick, they just gave the bin that Jax. So I'm very curious about the Gwen and Jax this matchup. So could you share more about your thoughts in the laning phase for game 2? And also we have realized that Bin have chosen Ignite and Teleport instead of using Flash. So what's your thoughts toward that? 那说到第二局比赛，比较有趣的是，对面是在第5手最后给冰选出了一个贾克斯，然后呢，所以说我们也比较好奇，盛枪哥觉得格温和贾克斯这样的一个对线是有怎么样的一个看法？而且同时冰也是没有选择带闪现，是直接选择了点燃，所以说你对这样的选择有没有什么自己的理解呢？
我觉得格温跟贾克斯这两个英雄其实是比较五五开的，前面是格温比较优势嘛，然后前面压制的好的话，但是后面贾克斯如果发育起来会逆转过来，所以他这样带其实只是线上更厉害一点，但是我不是很推荐，感觉后期会比较弱一点。
I feels like in this Gwen and Jax matchup, both champions have the 50% winning rate. I think Gwen can be more strong in the early game in the laning phase, but Jax, if this champion can scaling up to the late game, he will be super strong and can be unstoppable. But I think for the Ignite choice, maybe Bing want to choose it because this can like strengthen the champion's laning phase and laning strengths. But I don't recommend this because without flash, just using the Ignite can be quite weak in the late game team fights. And my last question is, in this weekend, Edward Gaming, you are going to face against JDG. And in yesterday's interview, Yago have told us he will be happy enough if he can just push Edward Gaming in the third game, and he guaranteed that as a success. So I'm very curious about your response to his words. 那在周末的时候，你们要再次面对京东了吗？而且在昨天的采访里，牙膏和我们说，如果能把 EDG 和 EDG 的比赛拖到第3局，就算成功了。然后所以说对这样的一个对话，我们的盛枪哥有没有什么一个属于自己的回应？
虽然第3把就算成功，但是还是希望2把就下班吧。
2把你们就能有信心战胜他们吗？
看情况。
Although maybe Yago said pushing to the third game will be guaranteed as a success, but I hope that the game will end it up with just 2 games. And so my following up question: so, as satisfied, are you confident enough of getting a 2-0 victory against JD Gaming? He responded like, we'll see in the actual day. And definitely we're looking forward for the next matchup between you guys. And congratulations again for today's game. 那再次恭喜你们，我们也期待周末能给我们带来精彩的表现。And back to you guys. Bye bye.
We shall see, Flandre. We shall. Indubitably. Anyway, thank you very much, Wendy, for a fantastic interview. And sorry, getting a little loopy, a little tired, a little hungry, but that's pretty much kind of, sums up how EDG feel about the game. They came third, they're looking fantastic, obviously, since spring, and they're not quite yet to count their chickens before they hatch.
I just love that he says, I don't want 3 games to kick out. I want 2 games, but then won't commit to EDG winning. So is he fine with JDG 2-0ing them? Is that my takeaway?
I mean, you interpret it how you want to interpret it there, Lyric, as we have a look at coming to the end of today's show, we have a look at what happened today, and it was kind of a day of stomps. Sorry, I've been told by my producer we have to keep going. Apologies about that, but, it was a little bit of a day of stomps. It was 2-0 across the board, RNG finding it. Don't you shake your head disappointingly at me. You're not my real dad. You can't say that or be like that to me. But yes, RNG finding some momentum, fantastic for them to really kind of go for it and really get themselves up and running in the season. A fantastic time for them to do it, obviously, because they have FBX this weekend. And for EDG, it is very much about the, continuing what they're doing so well. It's about them kind of moving this momentum forward and maybe looking for that, second or finals appearance, in summer.
For them, it is about finding that second finals appearance. But you know what we can use this time to do? To sell people on the banger weekend we're having. OMG, BLG, WERA, FPX, RNG, IG, LNG, JDG, EDG. All of that's this weekend. All of that is Saturday and Sunday. Even tomorrow. We got Top Esports. We got LGD looking prime with Shadow. This week of LPL has some banger games. So
week 2's fixtures are dead and buried, and they had to die so that week 3 could live, because week 2 was just not a great time if you're looking at like lower teams versus upper teams. But this week we got a hell of a lot of upper teams versus each other, so very, very excited for that. And we'll be casting the FBX RNG series there on Saturday, so I'm very excited. Our marriage may continue as we continue to cast together, but then we take a bit of a break.
You know what we're not casting? V5 versus TT tomorrow. And that's something that, you know, I'll be watching. I'll be there, V5 versus TT.
we'll
We're
both
going to
be
see
watching.
someone pick up a win.
Yeah, we will see, of course. We'll have a quick, before we get to that, let's have a quick look at today's results, which I've now been told by my fantastic director are ready to go. And there's going to be RNG 2-0 over Rogue Warriors, and EDG versus Suning ended in 2-0. Again, moments where Suning looked like they could have won the game, but just not able to finish off on the execution.
Nope, really a self-fulfilling prophecy from been there, you know? They feel like they always get just like a little bit one play away from winning, and then, you know, everything
They're
just
still
kind of
one play away from
bites
winning.
them back. They kill Vipers, Ezreal. You think everything's fine. They go into their own jungle. Guess what? Scouts on Silas hiding behind a wall, and you are all screwed. And then RNG finally picking up their first win is pretty awesome, which gives us these standings, and these standings mean that we're all waiting for LNG versus EDG, which I'm pretty sure off the top of my head is the last week of LPL, because we've said it many times.
It is in week 9. It is not the last game, it is their second last game for both these teams, so we'll see how that one goes on. We'll see if they do get to the point of being undefeated right up until week 9. But before we get that, we got to finish off week 3, because we're still only about just over halfway through it. We got 3 more days of games in this week. And tomorrow's matches, you mentioned it, the hype of the hype, the creme de la creme. It is V5 versus TT. One of these teams will be walking away with a victory, with a dub in that W column. And then later in the day, we got the, in my opinion, not as hyped up LGD versus Top Esports.
You know, Longxing and Sam D against their former org. That's what we've been waiting for. And then, yeah, Top Esports still being a bit of an interesting question mark, this split on where they're going to go, how they're going to round out. Are we going to keep seeing Qingtian in the roster? Are we going to see 369 at any point in time, where you would think they kept funneling resources into him in metas that didn't really suit that? Here we are in a meta where you can funnel resources in your top laner, but
Yep.
you know, not to say Qingtian's performed bad, definitely had some decent performances, but Top Esports need to string something together and start getting some wins on the board.
Yeah, they need to start getting their season going, because we are slowly but surely approaching the halfway mark of the split, and that's when things start to get a little bit dicey. You know, we talk about, obviously it's still very, very early to talk about playoffs, but because we have a 10 team, you know, kind of starting from 10th, moving all the way up, it does mean that placements is a little bit more important than your average, you know, kind of gauntlet, I suppose. And that is all the time we have for today. Excuse me, I'm very tired and very hungry. Thank you, Lyric, for joining me in my stupidity and lunacy. Thank you to my director, and I'm sorry for going a little bit too fast. And of course, to all of our fantastic remote crew over in Shanghai. Without them, none of this would be possible across 3 continents. And until then, we'll see you guys same time tomorrow. Until then.